There we go. Alrighty, let's get started. We're going to do a flow for the hips this morning. One of the things we're doing is everybody's favorite pose of frog. So if you do not have a blanket or a pillow or a cushion, might not like a pillow actually because it's longer than this. This is the one where we open our legs and you can put it under your torso like that to help make things easier. So if you don't have one handy, you might want to go grab one. Alrighty, so we'll start as we always do with our breathing and centering exercise. I see Lorelei's here again too. It's lovely to know who's here, because usually I'm sitting too far back, I can't even see, so it's nice to come forward and be able to see who is here. So welcome. All right, so you know the drill. Gonna get a comfortable cross-legged seat. You can, if you've got sciatica issues, you might want to roll up a little blanket and just sit your sit bones on it, or lie back. Have your legs bent if you're lying back, inner knees resting together, feet slightly apart. Hands can be in your lap if you're seated, or on your belly if you're lying back. You might like to have them on your thighs, palms up or down. If you're lying back, by your sides, palms up or down. Or one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears. Now let them slide down your back, away from your ears. Tucking your chin in slightly to lengthen the back of the neck. And letting your eyes fall softly shut if you haven't already done so. Just settling in to your room, into your space, letting go of your morning, and letting go of today, whatever's in store for this Thursday. Let go of the anxieties and worries and frustrations just for this next hour, so that it becomes an hour of time just for you, body, mind, and spirit. Do a body scan next, taking note if there are any areas or issues that maybe need a little bit of extra care or attention. Not that you'll dwell on whatever arises, but creating that space, acknowledging it or them. When we check in again at the end of the class, you may notice a subtle shift in perspective or sensation. And now begin to notice your breath. Don't change anything, just become aware of it. Whereabouts in your chest cavity are you breathing? How fast are you breathing? Are you breathing through your nose or your mouth, or a bit of both? So begin to breathe in and back out again through your nose, pulling that air in. Trace its path as it flows up your nose, down your throat, into your lungs, and then back out that same pathway. Feel the swirl past the rings of the nostrils as the breath exits the body. Notice a difference in temperature there, right at the rings of the nostrils, how the air is cool when it first enters the nose and warm when it exits. Just another thing to focus your mind. Notice how your breath is slowing down and deepening. We're getting to the bottom of our lungs where the air tends to stagnate, as we tend to be upper chest breathers. Start to even out your inhales and exhales, putting a count maybe to 2 or 3 as you pull the air in, and then that same steady count as you send it back out again. And remember, there's that mantra if you prefer. I am breathing in. I am breathing out, matching that phrase to your inhales and your exhales. Allowing your breath to deepen as it wants. Notice how the belly's moving a little more. Diaphragm working. On another inhale, still counting or using the mantra, pay attention to your rib cage. Notice how it expands in 4 directions. The fronts lift and separate. Backs poof out. If you're lying back, you'll feel them press into your mat. Notice the side ribs. You tend to forget about them. They move too. Watch those ribs contract as you exhale. Go deeper now. Look at your lungs. Feel them, but see them with your mind's eye. Pink and healthy, ritual sponges that fill up the majority of our chest cavity. Watch how they expand in 4 directions as well. Know that they turn a beautiful glowing pink, and then watch them expand, contract on the exhale, knowing that they turn slightly blue. Send your lungs some gratitude for being healthy, for all the work that they do for you, all day, all night. This is your yogic breath. It's the main one that we use in yin, and it helps anchor your mind inside your body. It gives your mind a place to rest, something to focus on. All those various tools. Watching your ribs, thinking about your lungs, noticing the temperature of the breath. Those all help keep our mind inside our body. The more we can practice with mindfulness and awareness, the better the benefits are. But the breath also will let us know if we're in too far, if it becomes ragged, or maybe we just lose the rhythm because we've disappeared out of the room, out of our bodies. It's a way to bring ourselves back. But also if it becomes ragged, then we know that we need to back off or modify. So we can always come back to this most important part of any style of yoga, your breath. Link between your body and your mind. Now, if you are lying back, make your way to one side. Everyone can blink their eyes open and closed a few times. If you're seated, you want to lift your knees, straighten out those legs, give them a little bounce and a rock from the top of the hips. When you're ready from lying on your back, come over onto, push yourself up, and everyone can come over onto all 4s. We're going to start off with Dragon Pose. And so we'll start off with just 1 minute in each one of these. So this one actually can help with sciatica. And if you find that it's a little hard on the knees, then take your little blanket or quilt and lie it across your mat and set your knees on that if you've got a thin mat. Where your right hand is, pick up your right foot and put it there. Help it forward if you need to. A block can be pretty handy here too. If you can't get your hand onto the floor, try getting that kneecap into the armpit. Set a block or book on this side, and that'll give you more arm length. Put 2 blocks under your hands. As I always say, it's not got anything to do with your hands at all. It's all about the legs. Make sure, and the hips especially, your ankle is under your knee. Now, see your left foot, tuck that toe under and move that leg back until you start to feel, oh my God, it feels like I'm doing the splits, and then you'll know. As long as it's not an off the charts, oh my God, it's got to be just a tug. Set the top of that left foot down. Have your hands in a good supporting position. You can maybe even be on fingertips for a little while. It's good to strengthen those fingertips. Look on the floor in front of you about 1 meter, 3 feet, and then close your eyes. Notice if you relax your legs a little bit, how that increases the pull through the hip instantly. So easy does it. Use your leg muscles a little bit here to help take that off. If the finger joints get a little bit achy, then go to flat hands or go to fists. And then once you've got your next arm position or you're more comfy with your hands, if comfort can be used in dragons, they're pretty intense. Then relax your legs again a little bit. Dragons work deeply into the hip socket, so easy does it. Don't have to set any records here. Now, we only hold them for a minute. Come to high flying dragon. This is the one that's a little harder on your knee. Don't push onto your thigh there. You're just resting your arms lightly there. If you find that this quad starts to cramp up, then come back to the baby dragon, relax that quad, that things settle down, and then come back up again, maybe, or not. Stay with the hands on the floor, baby dragon one, that's fine. Notice that your shoulders tend to creep up, so drop them down. Maybe move back a little bit. Notice how this becomes a back bend then here. You can, if you feel that it feels better, just let your arm or both arms relax, but that requires a little more balance. Find a spot on the floor or on your mat to gaze at. Steady breathing. Check that your jaw's relaxed. Now inhale, bring both of your hands to the inside of your foot. So they're both on the inside. Tuck your back, or sorry, no, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to see if we can lower our torso. So if you have that book or that block, bend your forearms and rest on it, like so. And then you're lowering your torso, increasing the pull through the left hip, increasing the compression through the right hip. Some of you might find you can go onto your mat, as long as that doesn't make your breath huff and puff. This is one where you can use that ocean breath, that soft HA, like you're fogging up glasses in the back of your throat. Push it through your nose. You can stay on your hands if you can't get lower. That's not a problem. Just being on the inside of this leg changes it a little bit. Now, from wherever you are, tuck your back toes under and push through the heel. Your knee's going to come off the mat like so, just a couple inches. You can stack your fists and rest your forehead if you like. This is called fire breathing dragon, and you'll know why. We only hold it for 30 seconds. Anytime, put the knee down again. A little bit of yang work here. Usually we don't do much of any muscle work, but this is just a little bit. So feel your forearms working a little bit too. Inhale, now set the knee down. We can do one last 30-second one. Winged dragon. Set the top of your back foot down. Flap your right leg up and down a few times, and then on maybe the second or third flap, third or fourth, a few, let it flare open. Your foot is going on to the side edge. So now we've got an outer rotation happening in our hip. Just a few more breaths. Inhale now, set that foot down, come back up. You might feel like your hips are never going to move back to normal position again. Tuck your toes under and push into your hands. Push into your hips, get them up and back. Bring this right hand on the outside of that right leg for stability. Stay there for a few moments, enjoying that release. Coming out of those is the best part. The warmth flooding through your hips is so beneficial. Rock up onto your heel, getting a nice hamstring pull there. And then when you're ready, pull that leg, scissor it, heel toe back down. Set that knee down onto itself and stay on all fours. Breathing in, breathing out. If you want here, do a couple of cat-cows just to further release your hips and your back. Arching, tucking that tailbone, dropping the belly, spreading the sit bones, look up. After a couple, 3 of those, then end with a flat back. And we'll do the other side. So where your left hand is, you're going to put your left foot there. So help it forward. Again, really important that we stack the joints. So the ankle's under the knee here. Get your block or blocks or books handy so that you've got nice support. Now look at your back toes. Come forward a little bit here and tuck them under and move that leg back, 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 and then set the top of the foot down. Look on the floor in front of you, about that meter, 3 feet mark. So we don't want to let our head drop like that. We're keeping our spine in a nice alignment here. And then slowly relax into the pose. Easy does it. You'll get to a point where it's like, listen to your breath. Your breath is your guide. Remember, the first tattva yin is this edge. We look for a comfortable discomfort. Nothing right off the charts at all. We want it manageable. So it's not comfortable, but it's not painful. Excuse me. Steady breathing. Your breath is your guide. Once you find that tug, then the second tattva is this stillness. We try not to back away from the intensity, even though we want to, because we're not too happy. If there's ever any pain, you do back away. You never stay with any kind of pain. Now, on your next inhale, we're going to come up onto that high flying dragon one. So resting your arms lightly there on your thigh, finding a gazing spot on the floor to help with your balance. Remember, if cramping starts to happen, then go back to the baby dragon with your hands down so your legs can relax, and then come back up maybe, or not. Stay with the baby dragon one. Think about first thing in the morning too. You probably not had much water, so cramping can sometimes happen too from not having drank any water overnight. I always have a little bit before with talking so that I don't get a dry mouth, but I can feel myself I'm dry this morning. Steady breathing. That other component to the stillness, we're physically trying not to back away, not fidget, but we're inside, still, noticing what's going on, noticing when we can maybe relax a little bit more. Inhale now, bring your both hands to the inside of that front foot. Stay there, or maybe you lower your torso just like that and stay on your hands, or maybe you bring the block to the inside, rest your forearms on it. This part too, you can stack your fists and rest your forehead. Sometimes that feels nice because then the legs seem to relax easier. Some of you might find, again, you can go down onto your mat. Just make sure it's not a struggle if you're going onto your mat. Now here we're going to tuck our toes under and do that fire breathing one for 30 seconds. So push back through the heel, knee comes up off your mat. Careful that you're not taking too much. I noticed I was, into your shoulders. Steady breathing, push back into that heel. Now set the knee down again, set the top of the foot down. Notice how your body temperature has come up a little bit. Flap your left leg up and down like a dragon wing. And maybe on the third flap, let it flare open. You're coming towards the side edge of your foot. So now we've got that outer rotation happening in our left hip joint. Feel the strong tug in your right hip joint. It's almost like somebody's got a hold of your femur, your thigh, and they're pulling back out of the pelvic socket there. So that's how it kind of shows you how deeply these work into your hips. So easy does it. Steady breathing. Now inhale, set that foot down, come back up onto your hands, tuck your back toes under again. Those poor hips feel like they're stuck. Push, lift. Oh, there we go. Back you go. Take your left hand on the outside of that left leg. Stay still for a few breaths. And then when you feel things have settled somewhat, rock up onto the heel, giving a nice tug to that left hamstring. Should feel very good. Again, coming out of dragons, I think, and most people do, is the best part. Bring that foot back down, set it down, stay still on all fours. Relax your legs. That warmth and flooding of coolness buzzing through your hips is so beneficial. Blood rushing in, nourishing too, and removing toxins. And then do your cat-cows, a couple of those. Drop the belly, look up. Do that another time, one breath to one movement. And after you've done 2 or 3, end with a flat back and then sink back to child's pose. Stack your hands, your forearms, your fists, and just relax, letting that all go. Yin just has the 3 tattvas, that finding that edge, as I mentioned, the stillness physically and internally, and then holding for time. Minutes. That's why it's so important never to stay with pain. On your next inhale, you're going to come forward onto all fours. This is where we start to work into frog pose. We take it easy and stay in the easier levels. Here, there's no records or anything to set. So this is where you might want to have a cushion or a pillow or a blanket on top of a block, even handy to support your torso on. So just have that stuff handy there. We ease into it. So we start off, we keep our toes together and we open our knees toward the side edges of your mat. And then see if you can sink back onto your heels. If that doesn't work because of knee issues, then here's where you can use a block. For starters, set it between your toes and sit on the block or sit on the cushion. Now we work our way forward and we stay in this wide-legged pose of the child, is what it's also known as. Tadpole is another name for it too. You can stay on your forearms here if you like, so you're feeling that inner pull through your thighs. Or you can turn your elbows out to the sides, make a nice resting place for your forehead. You can set, if you're not using the block behind you and you're sitting on your heels, then you can maybe use the block to rest your forehead on, and then your arms can go out in front of you. If you're not, or if you are comfortable, you can have your forehead on your mat. You might want to take your glasses off here. You can have your chin on your mat even. That can be a little bit intense on the neck, I find. So easy does it. We'll just spend the first minute here. Relax your legs. Steady breathing. Now from here, we're going to inch our way forward, bringing our hips over our knees. So your hips are up in the air like that. Just take a quick check and make sure that they're not too far back and you're not too far forward. They're nice and perpendicular. You'll have to walk your hands forward a little bit, and this is where it becomes a back bend as well. So then lowering down, this might be too intense, so this is where the cushion can go. Put it underneath your chest and rest on that cushion, and then you're still getting that back bend, feeling it down your back, mid back to low back, bums up in the air. This is another one that can be hard on the knees, so make sure you've got nice padding there. And I find I can rest on my chin if I stack my hands. Gets into the shoulders a little bit, this one. You can stretch your arms out in front of you, just make sure there's no tingling. Now from here, we're going to start to work into the groin. This is where it gets quite intense, and you might find that you want to swivel sideways for this, some of you, if it's too hard on the inner knees. Turn your feet out, Charlie Chaplin style. Now let your knees start to slide apart. If you're on the floor and it's not too hard on the inner knees, then it can be nice because the sliding on the floor is nice. If you're on carpet, you might be fine there. And then bring the tendency is you want to have your torso forward, keep your hips back, so don't let them come forward. Go on to your chin, arms out in front, or do the goal posts if that causes tingling. You can take your glasses off and go on your chin, and you just keep letting your knees go apart. Your feet are in line with your hips. And if this is entirely too much, then to come out, if you're in and you feel like you're stuck, you're going to go forward onto your tummies. And then come back to the wide-legged pose of the child. That is perfectly acceptable. And it gives you a really good pull through the inner thighs as well. We're here for just about 35 more seconds. Steady breathing. And if you find that you're not getting too much of a pull, as if that can be possible, just move your hips slightly back. You don't have to move back too much, and it'll increase it right away. listen carefully because it's important. This is hard on the knees and the hips, but in order to come out safely, you're going to slide forward onto your tummy. Your legs, move them one at a time. Turn the toes under and push back through the heel, and then do the other one. Straighten them out, turning the toes under, push through the heel. Rock over your pelvis to get those legs back. They feel like they won't go back together. And then bring your arms up, make a nice pillow for your forehead, and rest your forehead, being still for several breaths. That's always so intense, that pose. Right up there in the love department with the dragon. And then here, it's usually nice after that to bring your feet up into the air and wave them back and forth, windshield wiper style. Just letting that all go. But knowing how much goodness you did for your hips there. Ligaments tugging on them. Just waking up some cells there. And then when you're done, let those legs float back on down. Take another breath or two, and when you're ready, you're going to push up onto all fours. Swing your legs to one side or cross at the ankles and come to a seated position. This next one is an aggravator of sciatica, so make sure that you do have a little something to sit your sit bones on, just the edge of them, so you've got that slight lift and tilt forward of your pelvis. Let's grab a timer here. So this one's called square, and it's really important to listen carefully how we set it up. So start with your left leg and set it down. Don't bring your heel in towards your hip. Notice the edge of your mat, line your shin up with that. So you've got this nice parallel happening there, and your knees going out to the side. Now we're going to take our right leg and match it. So leave the foot where it is. The tendency is to want to bring the foot in closer to you. We're not. We're keeping that parallel. We want to see if we can stack that right leg on top, like so, 2 logs on top of each other. If that ain't going to happen, then you just bring that right leg in front. And so the 2 logs are side by side, but nicely parallel. Feet are slightly flexed. And if you notice, your right foot is by your left knee, and your left foot is by your right knee. I think I have another animal going to make an appearance here. Oh my goodness. So set this up like this, and then I'll start timing you. You know John's watching, don't you? You want to see John and Brandy. Okay, I'm going to have to go let Rocco out for a pee. I'm going to time you for 3 minutes here. We're going to lean forward, planting your hands on the floor, and push back. So just easy does this here. I've got my timer with me. I am so sorry. I'll be right back. Come on in. Just past the 1.5 minute mark. He's not quite done out there. Steady breathing. almost done. Keep a little bit of weight in those hands so that the weight stays back in the hips. Sorry, I didn't get to tell you that before we were interrupted by Rocco. On your next inhale, slowly come back up. Exhale when you get all the way up. Take that top leg, front leg, set it down. Bring out the bottom left leg, set it down. Lean back on your hands. Just letting that go, relaxing those legs, enjoying that, again, that flood of warmth and coolness flowing through your hips. When you're ready, do some windshield wipers. Just putting some motion back through those hip joints. All right, and then straighten out your legs. Give them a little bounce and a rock from the top of the hips. And then we'll do that on the other side. So this time we'll set our right leg up first, so pulling it in, make that nice parallel line, keep your foot slightly flexed, bring your left leg up, see if you can set it on top. Maybe one side's different than the other. If it doesn't, then set it back in front again, so ankle by knee, and left knee is hovering over your right ankle. Keep those feet a little bit flexed. That can help protect the knees too. The other thing that I didn't get a chance to tell you is you can take a block and set it between the knee and the foot or under your thigh. So if you can get your knee up there but it's fairly high, then consider putting a block there for it to rest on. All right, leaning forward, plant your hands just like we did before and push back a little bit. Be mindful too, I see people often with their ankles together like this, that ankle on the shin. You want to try to have that ankle over by the knee. It's quite foreign to us, awkward way to be. And if that causes any pain, by bringing that ankle more towards and onto the knee, then set it on the floor, and you might find that you're going to get a different sensation in your hips by keeping your ankles far apart and over by the knees. So even as you are leaning forward, you're keeping a little bit of pressure in those hands just to keep the pressure off the knees. Excuse me. Steady breathing. In through your nose, back out through your nose. Our thought today comes from Jim Henson, beloved Muppeteer. He says, watch out for each other. Love everyone and forgive everyone, including yourself. Forgive your anger. Forgive your guilt, your shame, and your sadness. Embrace and open up your love, your joy, your truth, and most especially your heart. Check in with those quads and the hips. Try to relax them as much as you can. The more you can relax the muscles, the better pull and tug, and the more we target our connective tissues. And those are think of the package of meat analogy again, the red meat, and you see the white stringy threads running through the red. And that's deep in the animal's body, deep in our body. Some of the cuts have that opaque kind of sheet or film in them, around them. Ribs, I always use that example, have that sheet, that film on the flat side of them. We have those same kinds of films through us, and they tend to tighten up with the aging process. They tighten up with injuries, with stress, with surgery. And then that inhibits movement, which is good when we're healing, but not good when we are healed, or not good for being limber. On your next inhale, bring yourself back up. Exhale when you get all the way up. Take this top leg off, set it down just like before. Bring the bottom one out, set it down. Lean back on your hands, enjoy. Close your eyes, that feeling of letting go. And then when you are ready, do some nice windshield wipers. Think about the inner knee coming down, the outer knee coming down. Feel how the hips are moving, rotating those femurs, and then straighten out to give them a nice little bounce. And then we'll do, you might want to swivel sideways for this one so you have padding under your heels. Dragonfly Pose is next. Here we go. So you're opening up your legs till you feel this nice pull along the inside that we're looking for. We're going to do a side bend here over to the right, and a block can be really nice. Set it on the inside, breathe in, and then on the exhale, lean over to the side. This left arm, take it behind your waist. Think about your right ear could come to your right shoulder. So let that head go sideways, and you'll feel this kind of a zigzaggy tug down the side of your neck. If you don't find that at a certain point, you can move the block out of the way. Maybe you go down onto your forearm. Maybe you set your elbow down and rest your head on your hand. Breathing. Try not to collapse sideways. Feel this zigzag pull along down the rib cage. It's part of the gallbladder meridian line as it runs down the side body. Now take your arm from behind you, you might like this, and rest it on the side of your head. Especially if you're not resting your head on your hand, that's going to put more weight on your head, more pressure on the side of your neck. So easy does it. If it bothers you to do this, then don't. Relaxing to the side. That pressure on the side of your head is beneficial. And then some of you might find that at this point, you either have enough for your head, so wrap your arm back behind your waist, or maybe you can find your foot and hang onto your foot with no effort. Keep sideways though, don't go forward. We're here for just 2 minutes, so another 30 seconds. Steady breathing. Notice the compression in the right hip and the extension tugging into that left hip, and especially down the side of your ribs. Pulling down the side of your legs too. This is getting into the groin. So for that reason, you never want to pull, you just want to drape. Now inhale your way back up to the center. Exhale when you get all the way to the center, and then we'll go to the other side. So inhale, think length of your spine. Exhale, remember, move the block over to this side. Set your elbow on it, rest your arm in your hand. Your head in your hand. There we go. And take your right arm behind you, wrap it behind you, leave it there by your waist. Relax your legs, because when we first go to the side, the legs are engaged. Think about your left ear here, that it could come towards your left shoulder. Maybe you don't need your head resting anymore, you can let it go. Breathing in, breathing out. You don't have to have your legs straight here. You can have a slight bend or a bigger bend in them, and keep some pressure off the hamstrings if that's bothering you. Remember, if you find that you can't get your mind off something, then figure out a way to modify it. Now take your arm and rest it on the side of your head for that extra little bit of pressure for a few breaths here. Listen to your breath. In through the nose, back out through the nose. And then if you did reach for the foot on the other side, reach out, see if you can find it. As long as it's effortless, there's no pulling. Make sure you're not collapsing forward. Stay open to the side. Breathing in. Breathe out, just like a wave coming into shore and receding. Now inhale your way back up to the center. Exhale when you get all the way up. And then we'll lean forward. This is where a block can be lovely too. So inhale, and then rest your arms maybe on the block. Remember, there's more than one side, so maybe it's here. Remember, feet can be pulled in a little bit for more relaxed, less pull on your hamstrings. Feel free to support under one or under both knees with a block too, so that they can totally relax and you can have that comfortable discomfort tugging on your hamstring. So don't make it too intense. Remember, the block can be great for your head too. Set it on one side, on one end and rest your forehead on the block. Arms can then, if you're resting your forehead, can go out to the side. So you can totally relax your back, relax your legs. Maybe part way through, we're at the 1 minute mark here, just coming up to that. Maybe you move it down to a lower side and open your arms towards your feet. Allow your back to round if it's okay here for your low back. But if you have any disc issues there, then don't round. Keep your tummy pulled in and just lean from the hips with a flat back. You can still go far, but that's not the point. Make sure you're not pulling. Your forward bend might be here, and that's okay. As long as you're feeling it, you're doing it. It doesn't have to be off the charts. And if you're getting a nice tug along the inside lines of your legs, and this is as far as you can go because of tight hamstrings, then this is fine. Make sure that you've got that sit bones, that blanket under your sit bones for that slight elevate and tilt of your pelvis, because a lot of us with that have tight hamstrings, the pelvis is backward tilted and there's no way you're going to be able to go anywhere forward. So helping to lift that pelvis, sitting it on something. I always love the looks on students' faces when I say, well, roll this yoga mat up and then sit on it, and now just on the edge of it. And now they always say, oh yeah, that's better. So try that little trick. Check in with your jaw. Tendency is to grit our teeth here. Make sure your tongue is loose in your mouth. Relax your shoulders. Feel that breath filling up your lungs. Backs of your lungs have lots of room to expand and contract. Feet are nice and floppy. Now on your next inhale, slowly uncurl your way back up. Exhale when you get all the way up. Leave your legs where they are, lean back on your hands. That'll release your hips, and your back should feel fantastic. You could really enjoy that warmth going through your hips, that spearmint feeling. When you're ready, pull your legs in so that you can do some nice windshield wipers here. That was a long time with our legs apart, so enjoy these windshield wipers. Good. And then we'll do one more pose, forward bend, so a nice strong compression in the front of your hip and a good pull in the butt cheek. We're just going to do this one for 2 minutes, and I'll show you quickly. You have options then. The 2 minutes can be in a simply forward bend, or your version with the flat back, forward bend. Use something under the backs of the knees if you like, if it's tight on the hamstrings. If you want to do snail pose, also known as halasana or plow, then you'll want to lie down, and with control bring your legs up in the air and then over your head. And if your toes stay up in the air like this, then you want to support your back with your hands and stay there and relax your legs. Just let them float. If your toes come to the ground, then and only then, as long as there is no effort to do this and you're on your shoulders, you're not on your neck, you can have, one of my yoga teachers likes to say, a little mouse run behind your neck. So make sure that you're on the back of your head and your shoulders, and your hands can be down here on your mat if you like, and let your legs again relax, or bring them up and over, clasping the wrist if you like, and you just have this lovely relaxed deep, deep forward bend. When you come out, you use your hands as brakes and you roll down slowly with control. So you have two options. So decide which one you are going to do. I'll start timing us now. It's just a 2-minute hold. Listen to your breath. It's a good idea if you've never done or you haven't done it for a while, Halasana. We don't do it too often in Yin. Try it. If you're finding that you're huffing and puffing and it's so much effort to stay over, then roll out slowly and go into your forward bend. Okay. Remember, your breath is your guide. And keep your hands on your back for support if your toes are not on the ground. Steady breathing. Just 2 minutes here. You should be able to breathe, and you can hear that I can talk quite well, quite easily. This is a great one for your spine as well, whether you're in the seated position or you're on your shoulders. But feel the compression in the front of your hip joint, a nice tug perhaps deep in the butt cheek. But remember, easy does it. You're not pulling or forcing, you're just letting gravity do the work. Now, if you're on your shoulders in snail pose, remember, use your hands as brakes for control. Unwind slowly and with control. If you were seated, then you come up to an L shape and sit there for a few moments before joining everybody on your back. Just lying still. Legs can be bent if you like. Easier for your low back. And then take your arms out to a T. And we are going to cross our right knee on top of our left, just like you're sitting in a chair. Maybe you can hook the calf, maybe not. Scoot your left hip under a little bit and let those knees drop over to the left. Remember, a block can be lovely here for them to rest on. You don't want to let this right shoulder pop up off your mat, so try to keep it on your mat. Turn your head, look to the outstretched right hand. Think about your right ear, that it could come onto your mat. Because your legs are wound up in twisted roots, you can keep both your arms out in a T. It's not necessary to bring that left hand down and rest it on the side of the knees. So have this lovely open heart, open chest. Steady breathing. Twists are releasing tension in your spine. So for that reason, you want to be nice and relaxed. And having our legs wound up like this, whether we've hooked the calf or not, it doesn't matter. But you're getting that last extra little bit of pull through the side of your hip. Maybe you can feel it in the sacrum. Now inhale your legs back to the center. Undo them. Plant your foot soles. Push into your feet, lift your hips into the air so you realign your spine, set your hips down. Cross your left knee on top of your right, hook the calf or not, scoot that right hip under, and then let those legs drop slowly over to the left. Try to keep that left shoulder as much as you can in contact with the mat. Think about your left ear,
that it could come onto your mat, and that'll bring the twist into your neck if it's okay for your neck. If it bothers you, then don't do it. Keep the back of your head on your mat. Still using your yogic breath. In through the nose, back out through the nose. Twists are also working on our nervous system. They help to restore that equilibrium after we've been in a flow that's as intense as this one, since it's worked so deeply into our hips. We tend to have a little bit of a stirred up nervous system, so twisting like this can help to just restore that calm and all is well feeling. Now inhale your knees back up to the center. Undo those legs. Once more, plant your foot soles, push into them, lift your hips into the air, and then set your hips down. Bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around those shins, give yourself a hug, rock over that spine, massaging. Take your time here. Should feel really nice. If you take your knees a little lower, you can get across the sacrum to massage. You can plant your palms on your knees and send your knees in circles a few times each way. And then when you're done, stretch those legs out. Getting ready for final relaxation. Arms by your sides, palms up or down, doesn't matter. A little bit of space between your arms and your sides and a space between your legs, so you're in a gentle, kind of a star shape. Tuck your chin so the back of the neck lengthens. Take in a deep breath. Let it go with a sigh. One more time, take in a deep breath. Let it go. Fill your body now with a warm, healing light of relaxation from your toes. Let it flow into your body, filling your body with a warm and healing light of relaxation. Totally letting go. Float away to a happy place or stay within, letting your breath be whatever it wants to be. Letting your body now absorb the benefits of the practice for the next couple of minutes. And again, I will stay with you in Shavasana.
coming back to your room, hearing the sounds around you, feel the air on your skin. Gently bring yourself back by wiggling fingers and toes, making circles with those wrists and ankles, turning your head from side to side. And then sweep your arms over your head for a full body stretch. And then those arms come down, the legs glide in, turn over to your left side, pausing there for just a moment. Take time to notice how you're feeling. Notice the quality of your mind. Maybe there has been that subtle shift from the beginning of the class. Know that this is your true nature and you can come back to this feeling anytime. Push into your mat with your right hand. Help yourself back up to a cross-legged seat. Hands come together in prayer at your heart. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. May you be free from fear and harm. May you be content as you are. May you be at peace with what comes. May you be happy. The light within me honors the light within each one of you. Bow forward, sealing your practice now. Namaste. Have a wonderful day, wherever it takes you, in your home and around your home. Be safe, be well, my friends. Thank you again. Namaste. Bye.